Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this last impromptu session. I really appreciate your patience and coming over here for this. Um, as you can see, I am going to be vibe coding with you. If you don't know what is vibe coding, you will know after this session. Okay. If you have been experimenting with vibe coding, I will explain to you some of the tips and tricks that you may want to experiment and go away and do the things at home. Especially being tomorrow being the Sunday, you have an opportunity to play out the sessions what I'm trying to do today. So the session is all about taking your concept and idea and building an MVP really very quickly, very, I would say probably in minutes, but it might take a couple of hours to a half a day, right? I'm just going to show you the applications which I developed, and I also want you to get addicted to developing these applications as well. It's really addiction, right? I'll show you how it is going to be done. So obviously you will be interested in who I am, right? Who am I? So it's me. My name is Madhu Konda. I work for a bank called EBRD, European Bank of Reconstruction and Development. Me and my colleague Simon, and I think my other colleague who is Jenna, who has just joined the bank, we have set up a booth just outside this organization, this particular track. So I'll come back to that in a second. So with respect to myself, I am a passionate technologist. I enjoy technology. I've been in the industry for probably 25 years, I think more than 25 years. And I'm a core Java developer, Python developer, and recently I picked up AI. And I would say probably my hobby is writing books or teaching or training or upskilling myself. One of these things. I know it's a boring hobby, but unfortunately, that's me. Um, this is my book, the recent one, which was published about, if you haven't seen, this is Elasticsearch in action. This was published in 2 years back before the ChatGPT. So I did not use ChatGPT to write this one. So I can guarantee you this is my 3 years of baby. It took me almost all my weekends and weeknights. So probably that's the reason why you can see the thickness of this one. But luckily, one of you guys are actually going to get this one tonight or tomorrow, probably. Because outside this track, there's a booth where you can just make sure that you leave your details, enter into the draw. And certainly my colleague Simon is going to post you. If you want, I can sign it as well with my name, but you are going to win this one. Okay, don't forget that. With that, I have been developing a lot of books, but these are the list of books so far. So with EBRD, this is my passion about technology. This is my first ever company I've been with this long. EBRD is so dear to me. I've been with EBRD for almost coming to 7 years. And most of the time usually it's, probably 3 years I get complacent. I don't want to become complacent, so I move around. Like this is the one company which I really enjoy, and I'm staying here as well. The main thing with this is the tech at EBRD. So we have our new MD, Subhash Chandra Jose, who just joined about 2 years back. We are transforming. We have been transforming in the IT, in the business of developing such applications, really good applications for delivering for the banks. I mean, this is not a typical bank where you can see about, just like a normal investment bank or a retail bank. It's the social bank. It's a development bank where you can see the impact of what we do in the probably 77 or 80 countries outside the Europe, or including the Europe as well. We are modernizing our tech stack. We are actually very much into digital transformation, working with a ton of applications, and hence we are actually trying to do a setup of EBRD office in, I think it's Mega Park, if I'm not mistaken, in here. So we are actually actively recruiting a lot of technical roles. Some of them are already live. So please do come and talk to me or Jenny or Simon outside this booth. We are pretty happy to take it over. That's the link. Don't forget to go to the jobs.ebrd.com, and you should see, search for location, set the location as Bulgaria, and you should see the jobs which are live today. With that, so that's the introduction. That's out of the way. I wanted to straight away jump into some of the applications I've been developing. I think, let me get that over there. I thought it's extended actually, no? Okay. I was extending my, mirroring my thingy, but looks like it's not. Give me 2 more seconds. Okay, let me mirror my screen. Okay, so let me show you one quick application. My son is an 18-year-old. He is into something called A levels, which is basically 10 plus 2. You, after your school, you have your A levels. He and his friends were struggling to, actually they are using ChatGPT a while, but they are struggling to take a picture and snapping the picture and then asking the ChatGPT, ChatGPT marking those particular program is not necessarily the right way. So I went away, I created a AI powered learning application. It's a very simple assistant. All it's going to do is that it's going to snap a student's answer or question, whatever it is going to start explaining to you. It's nothing but a wrapper around your GPT-4 model. And how long it took for me? A weekend. Seriously, a weekend. In fact, I actually started with 2 hours on a Saturday and then 2 hours on the weekend. So it's really, really straightforward. You could use it really very well. On your mobile, it's a mobile first application, but you can always use mobile as well as on the web as well. There's also in UK, there is something called ISAs, individual savings accounts. Unfortunately, not many people know about them, including my own son. That's a pain point I wanted to exploit or explore. What I did was I used Replit, or I used one of the tools to develop a simple website. You can see that this looks like a professional website, but this is all wipe coded. I did not write a single line of code. Believe me being a Java developer, me being the Python developer, I did not write even a single line of code. Everything what you see here is coded by the AI, right? It's because I just took the idea and explored the idea and created an application. It has got the chat GPT integration as well, like GPT-4 model integration. So you could get answers from the advisor if you want, okay? Now, me from a corporate sponsor, because I think my EBRD, usually I think about a month back, I went to GITEX 25 in Berlin. So one of the things I need to do is that I need to come back and claim for the expenses, right? That's what you do actually when you work for a company, you have to come back and claim for your expenses. What I did was, it was a manual, boring process. I need to take a snap of each and every receipt and then create an Excel sheet, add the information to that one, convert from euro to GBP. Is really manual process. But that's a pain point. That's an opportunity that I could do something, right? That's an idea I got. So why can't I develop an application that does really very well from simply taking a snapshot of a receipt and to the point where it could send out the complete invoice. That's the idea. So this is the Claimly is a very simple application I created over the weekend again. It can go away. It does the job of snapping all your receipts. So if you have a receipt, you create a strip, snap your receipts, and ultimately it's going to create an Excel file. It's going to create a report. And once you finish a trip, everything will be sent to your department or to your expenses department. It's really easy. And again, I did not do even a single line of code here. All my examples here, I wanted to show it to you is AI has become so integral into your thought process that an engineer, if you put your thought process into it, you can develop an MVP in really minute, right? Let me show you that one. So these are all the examples. If I show you the examples, you will be literally amazed. So for example, I got my addiction nowadays is this thing. You can see that how many I keep on creating them. Almost all of them are very, very niche applications, right? I could bring them up. I could productionize them. I could start marketing them, but that's not what I'm doing at the moment. Okay, that's a different discussion. So how do we do that one? So the idea here is that you have an idea, you want to market that idea. When I was developing these MVPs about 5 years back, about 10 years back, it used to take at least 3 months to take an idea and build a prototype. I don't know how many of you are aware of that, but it used to be taking that long, 3 months to 6 months to 1 year sometimes. And by the time you finish your 3 months period, you already exhausted with that idea. You may have moved on, right? I used to have that problem. I used to say, I started with really, so much of enthusiasm about an idea. I started spending 3 months, 6 months. By the time it comes to the actual prototype, it's all gone. My enthusiasm is gone. Somebody has already built that particular idea. I'm completely, moved on, nothing else. But now I don't need to wait that long. I can certainly go away, develop these applications within minutes. Okay. Now I'm just going to introduce to you one or two tools, but these are not the only tools you should be able to, experiment with, right? I'm not telling you to use only tools. All I'm trying to tell you is that there is a newer way of coding called vibe coding. There's a newer way of taking the applications and dissecting them in such a way that using your AI tools to make them market them to your client very, very quickly. That's the idea here. So let me introduce you to first Replit.com. Look at that. So this is I'm not sure how many of you are aware of Replit. Anyone idea? Anyone? Cool. Couple of you. So this is a very straightforward interface, an application, a full stack application, right? So when I say full stack application, what I mean to say is that I could take away the application which is built on this particular platform. I can deploy that to the world. I could integrate it with authentication. I could have a database behind the scenes and everything all in one platform. In fact, not just Replit, there are other applications coming up similar to Replit as well. You can have your own application as well. Okay, so let's try it out. Actually, rather than me telling you, let's try it out how I can do that one. So what do we have? I think I have a small, probably somewhere, I don't know exactly, but so let's take an example. Let's build. I mean, remember, I'm not writing any code. I'm just telling what I want to write. My idea is to start a recipe plan. Okay, just let's build I'm a vegetarian, so let's build a recipe app. Okay, that's all. I'm not exploring anything at all, but ideally what I normally do is that I take the small piece of text that is the prompt, as you know. I go to deepseek.com or chatgpt.com. I'll expand that. You can do that one, but here I'm not going to explain to you, but you understand the idea, right? You can start with this small prompt as well. So go ahead and then ask it to do a plan. So all it's trying to do at the moment is that there's an agent behind it. The agent is going to take away your prompt. It understands the intent of the user. It's going to take away and it says that, okay, Mr. Konda wants an app for so and so things. So for that, I'm going to go and create a plan, because obviously, if you think about it, right? If I ask you to develop something, if I ask you to bake a cake, what do? You just don't go and start doing everything, right? But you have a plan. You have to go to get down, get some X and Y and Z from the market, right? You have a plan. That's exactly what this guy is trying to do for me, right? So you can see that there is a plan that has been created. Based on the plan, I can say, yeah, this looks perfectly fine, right? It tells you that the initial version is kind of okay to me. It tells me that in a app being built with React and Express. Remember, I did not mention the stack. I did not say that built in Streamlit or built in React or built in any particular language or any particular stack. I just said that just go and do this job for me. I don't care. I really don't worry about don't ask me what I want, but just go and use your own brains and then come back to me with an answer. So it has managed to do that one. If you want, you can add more features as well, but for this particular, let's stop there. So I can looks like it's already, you can see on the preview on the right hand side. Well, I did not give anything at all, but it's managed to do that. So it looks like everything is fine. I can go away, make the changes, but in the interest of time, I don't need to worry at all. Let's say I just wanted to be, I'm happy with this. I'm approving the plan. It's now trying to build that application, right? So if you see on the left-hand side, there is an agent which is working for you. This is the agent, AI agent, which has got the capability of taking your application or building your application from scratch. That's exactly what it's trying to do there. Now, everyone must have, I don't know how many of you have been experimenting with AI. This is something which is going to be future for you pretty much in the next 1 or 2 years. If you think about it, these things are going to be coming into us, or we are going to be exploring with them very, very much. I think probably, if I'm not mistaken, the software industry or the most of the disruptions are going to be around the engineering communities, right? AI is certainly going to be coming to that nature. So you can see that actually it's managed to do that and still doing the options. So that's perfectly fine. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let it do, because it might take a minute or two. That's fine. Now I'll leave that there. I just want to jump onto something else called a cursor tool or IDEs. I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with coding assistants. Anyone? Cool. I see that actually some of you are familiar with coding assistants. But the difference between the coding assistant and this guy, what I've shown you is, you need to understand the code a little bit on the other side. But that also, there is a trick for you not to worry about that. Let's go through that. So I have a cursor here. Okay, you can see that I just opened the cursor there. I simply, let me open a new one. Cursor is, if you don't know what cursor is an IDE based on Visual Studio for Code. It has been integrated with an AI agent inside. So it's basically, it comes already packaged with AI integration, AI agent inside it. Okay, you can change the agent the way you want it. Like, for example, you can pick up the Anthropic's agents, or you can pick up the OpenAI. It's up to you, whatever you want, right? But let's say, let's rather than me talking much about it, let me create a new application. For example, I'll just call it as chatter. I'm just going to open that. So if you see that there's nothing in there other than just creating a folder. All I have to do is that on the right hand side, there is a chat client, right? Or the chat interface. If you think about it, do I need to increase my font? I think that's okay. If you look at it, right, that's what you have multiple agents already working for you, or at least the cursor is allowing you to work with. So in this instance, I could pick up the Cloud4 Sonnet, which is absolutely amazing, by the way. Or you can also go for 4.1, GPT-4.1, which is also good. But my preference is obviously Sonnet, because that's more coding side is really done very good. Okay. So I said that, I want agent. That's what I did. Shall I increase the font? I think probably I'll increase a bit. Is that any better? Okay. Okay. So you can see that I am saying to the cursor, pick up the agent. In this case, that's my agent. I also said that, instead of asking for other type of models or going for an auto, because auto means like it can choose its own agent, I chose the Cloud4 Sonnet. That's what I wanted. Perfectly fine. Now, this is exactly what I'm trying to do there. I'm just going to come and prompt it here, right? That's what it. We managed to say it's a chatter. So let's say, let's build. I mean, again, though we are coders, we are not doing anything coding, right? So we just say, let's build a chat application using OpenAI, right? That's what I'm. Do you want to specify a particular stack? In this case, let's say we use Streamlit. I don't know if anyone of you are aware of Streamlit. Streamlit is a very lightweight Python-based UI, or Streamlit is very straightforward to do that job for you. Streamlit for this purpose. Okay, that's it. Nothing more than that, right? And you click the button. Obviously, I have I've been logged out. So hopefully I should be all right. I don't remember which password or which username I used, but let's see. Okay, luckily it managed. Okay, so let me go back and do the job of cursor doing the job. So this is again the agent, but in a coding assistant. So similar to this coding assistant, there's another one called GitHub Copilot, right? There's others actually. Windsurf is another one. Klein is another one. There are multiple coding assistants which are coming up. If you haven't been experimenting with this coding assistant, and if you're a developer, I think you're missing a lot. I'm not selling this product because I'm not even close to any of this, right? But my point here is that these coding assistants are actually going to be helping you a lot. You may have an issue of saying that, okay, are they going to be writing bad code, etc. Forget about that, right? I've been experimenting with most of these models from I think last 2 years, and the I can only say this one. The quality of these agents doing their job from zero to till now is only exponentially growing. Is really, really exponentially growing. Okay. Sometimes I find the code that is written or the way these agents debug, I can't do it myself. Sometimes I do think that I didn't even think about that particular problem in this area. So how did this guy got it? So that's what it is. So your job is not to worry about how these agents are going to take away your job. I mean your day-to-day jobs. Instead, use them to make yourself much more productive. Right? That's the thing which I wanted to say to you. Now look at that. This guy has gone away, has created me. I mean, while I'm talking to you, it's managed to create a lot of things. You can see if you go from the top, it says that, okay, I help you build a chat application. Perfectly fine. It created the, basically the pretty much you can on the right hand side, left hand side, you can see the code. I didn't write any code. It wrote this one. On the replit, I did not need to see the code, but I'll show you the code in a second as well. So it just went away, done the job, including it created me a README file as well, right? I mean, that's awesome, right? I mean, I don't need to worry at all. That's good. And it has gone away and then said that these are the libraries, these are the dependencies for your application, Mr. Konda. So I'm going to add them to you. You don't need to worry at all. So everything has been added to me. Looks like everything seems to be perfectly fine. So it said that it's already been ready. How long it took me? A minute, right? So that's fine. I could, obviously if it doesn't work, I can ask it to make sure that it goes away and does the job, right? It tells me, like as a dumb developer, it tells me all you got to do is that you go and install the dependencies, which is just normal dependencies for an application, for a Python-based application, and then start the application, right? That's pretty much I have to do, nothing more than that. So let's suppose I have been happy with this one. I just simply accept all. So that means whatever the application files that has created, it has managed to give it to me very, very simple, right? I mean, very straightforward. So my job now is to test it out, right? So I think because it's a Python-based application, obviously what you need to do is that you need to create a what do you call a virtual environment, right? I'm just going to create the virtual environment. And once it's going to be created, I'm just going to jump into that. It's a little bit about the virtual environments on the Python side, so don't need to worry too much about it. It's just a normal thing. Bin activate. That should be fine. So now I mean, you can always ask the agent to do that job for you as well. But in this case, I have been a bit lazy, did not ask the agent, but you can always ask it. Okay. So I'm happy with this one. So let's first just ask me to do the job of, running the installs, requirements. So I'll just, let me say, I can ask that to run as well. Okay. I can just say, go and run it. You can see that it's running for me. I don't need to do it all. And then you can always ask, once it's done, I can ask the Streamlit to come and start doing the job. While this is doing, let's jump on to the Streamlit. I'm hoping the Streamlit is somewhere there. Yes. Okay. Oh, initially I had a green one, but looks like the screen has changed a bit. Oh, look at that. Looks nice actually, isn't it? Okay. So it has created this application for me from scratch, completely from ground up. And if you look at the initial version, it says it's been completed. So that's good. I can, it tells me that there's a checkpoint has been made. The checkpoint is basically to say, if you keep on iterating at some point of time, if you want to go back to a previous version, that's a checkpoint. You can always go back to the previous version so that you don't need to worry about it. Because sometimes these agents are a little bit tricky to work as well. They do a quite an obvious mistake sometimes. They screw up your code. So you got to be making sure that you go back to your previous version as well. So looks like everything is fine. It did mention to me to say that, Mr. Konda, I have built your vegetarian recipes app. Are you happy with this one, right? I can say yes, but let's try it out, right? So on the top, remember I said to you, this is a full stack development environment, right? So if you look at it, right, there's a QR code. So you can always access that QR code and check my vegetarian app, or I could go to my development version of it. So let's see actually how it looks as a development version, right? So that's the application which has been developed, right? You can see that it's got a, I mean, this is, I don't know if anyone is here a front-end developer, but I'm pretty sure that you won't be able to develop this in a minute or 2 minutes, right? I'm not challenging you, but that's the reality, right? So looks like it's good, right? It's not bad at all. It also given me the trending this week. I don't know how it managed to do that. I didn't even give any information. But look at the footer as well. It managed, because a website kind of a thing application, it managed to say, Mr. Konda needs a footer as well. So I'm going to create a footer as well. It's kind of, I did not give, you seen that, right? One single prompt is what I gave, right? It went and done the job, everything automatically. So looks very good. Now you may say that, well, that's okay. If you want to deploy this, by the way, if you want to deploy this one, you can simply go over here and go to your deployments tab, and you can say set up my deployment, and how many machines you want, 2 machines, 1 machine, 10 machines, is up to you, right? But this is all on Replit infrastructure, right? So you can simply say, because for me it's a development version, I would say probably I could also edit this one, but I'm not worried about it. I'm happy with this one. So do you want to change this name? Let's say rather than mconda, let's say I want that one. Nobody has taken that one, so deploy. So that now, whatever the application I have developed now is available for the world, not just the development version, what you see in the URL, which is a gibberish URL here. Not that one, is now trying to deploy my application into the cloud, into its own infrastructure, right? That's actually an amazing thing. Remember, if you're from older generation, you know how painful is an application to be taken from this, an idea into hands of a user, right? If you think about it, this is a MVP, right? This is your vegetarian class, is your MVP. You are taking that, you're giving this URL. Once it's been uploaded, that URL is you can give it to anyone to go and do the testing, right? That's what you can go to your VC. This is the app. I built it over the weekend. I mean, you don't tell them because they won't give money yet otherwise. Just said this is my app, right? And this does the take away this particular pain point. Are you going to give the money for me, right? That's the MVP. That's exactly what you did, right? You did not spend 3 months for that. You spent few minutes probably, or 3 minutes rather, right? You can see there is a URL. You can, if you open that URL, that should be available for everyone. So you can go to that URL. It's available. You can also, let's say you've been really happy with this one, right? You said that, oh, this after a few iterations. So let's say I want to say here, it manages to give me everything what I wanted. But let's say you wanted, it's asking you, can you browse recipes, and asking me, okay, I'm happy with this one. I can say, what other, do I need to increase the font? Let me increase the font. What other features I should build? Because let's say I'm very dumb developer, I don't know anything at all. I'm trying to build this one, right? It tells me, because based on the context what it has got, it says that this is a vegetarian delights app. So I'm going to build something else, right? It's going to say it seems actually, by the way, look at that. There is a TypeScript error. I didn't know that, right? It managed to find out that, and it's actually going to fix that by itself, right? That's clever, right? That's really clever. And it's going to go and do the job of doing all those things. Now, while this is doing, let me show you one quick thing. If you go onto this particular files folder, you see there's a code that has been generated, right? So this is exactly the same code what we have sent, similar to the cursor or the coding assistance what has been done. Now, if I were you, or if you want to try it out on your cursor, you can uh, go to the three dots there, and you can download that as a zip folder, right? Once that particular folder, that means actually that code is completely into your environment. It's not telling you, the Replit is not telling you to say, no, it's only in my environment, right? So the claimly, for example, the one which I shown you in the beginning of it, the one which is somewhere here, I don't remember, but that guy, right, this one, initially I developed everything on Replit, right? But there is a, after that, I have to, because you want database and because you want to have deployment into your own environments, you don't want that to be, like locked to Replit. I want that to be outside Replit. So all I did was you go over here, right? You download your files. Once you're here, you use your cursor to open a new folder and obviously go to the repository, and that should, if I have it here somewhere, I should have it here. That's fine. Sorry about that. So I should have one of them, the vegetarian delights, as you can see there. Once I unzip it, my application is already available there, right? Pretty good, right? And now I brought all the things what Replit has done for me into cursor. You may be asking me a question, why would Mr. Konda is going to be jumping from one environment to another one? It's just that I don't want to be locking myself into an environment like Replit. Instead, I want all the code base with me. I may require something which I don't want to be experimenting on Replit, right? That's the reason. But if you're happy with Replit, make sure that your MVP stays there. You go to your VC, get your money, and then build a big team and start asking them to develop this one from end to end. It's up to you how you wanted to market that one, right? So you got 13 more minutes. So that's what you should do. Now let's come back very quickly onto this guy. So this seems to be everything seems to be perfectly fine. Hopefully this works out. Let's run this application, right? Obviously it did not work out. So it tells me that there are no secrets, because at the end of the day, OpenAI requires, you are expected to have an OpenAI key. But look at the way here it has created. It has managed to, I should be using 3.4.0, but it just managed to. It also has given me the mechanisms to change the temperatures, which is really good, or temperature of the models. And also I can just tell that to increase or decrease the tokens, which is really good, and so on and so forth, right? I'll show you one application which I just done exactly like that, using Streamlit, using Cursor. That's the product owner AI assistant, right? So this particular application, if you think about it, right? I have a, here is, let me increase the font size for this. Oh, yeah, okay. If you look at it, right, this is a PO, that is a product owner. If you are product owners, actually you had to write some stories, user stories for your development team, for your analysts to start, exploring them, right? So in this instance, I created this simple, very, very vibe coded application end to end. Okay, and I didn't do anything at all. All you're going to do is that you can say, in this instance, I say I need to build a set of user stories for my dev conference app. So I'm trying to build a dev conference app, for example. I want to create user stories, and you want to pick up the way whatever you want. You want to create an epic, or you want to create a story. User stories is up to you. If you have a mechanism, or if you think that your organization has got a set restricted um, product ownership related standards, you could upload them to say, don't use everything what you know, but just make sure that this is what you should do, right? And you can generate that one. It goes away. This is using actually OpenAI. It goes away, it generates it, and it gives you the user stories as you expect it to do that. But this is again wipe coded, right? This is from zero. I took about half an hour to bring it up. So these stories, you can see the user stories. So as a user, it tells me exactly as a so-and-so, as a conference attendee, for example, you want to register. That's exactly what you want to do, so that I can access the event schedule. This is as a so-and-so and what you want to do. These are the user stories that has been created. Now imagine if I integrate this one with Confluence, with the Jira tracker, or with any of them, I could straight away get these stories directly into your buckets, into your next step, which is basically for development for the engineers, etc. Right? That's the idea there. I want to show you one I got 10 minutes. So I just want to show you one particular application which I did. So now I'm not sure if anyone is, so by the way, I'm jumping from Replit is done, AI coding assistant, which is cursor is done. Now I'm introducing a third one, which is the N8N. N8N is an automation tool. I'm not sure if anyone is familiar here. Good. So look at this one. So I'm glad actually some of you are actually aware of this one. So I am currently building an engineering manager, right? So the idea here is really, really simple. What I mean to say here is, if as an engineering manager, I can give a required instructions to my manager, to my engineering master to say, go and build this one, go and build a user authentication story for my feature as a feature. What does it do, right? If you think about it, right, this guy is actually going to use the OpenAI, but look at, there are three tools it has. It has got the requirement extraction agent tool. It has got the enterprise architect tool. It also has got the software engineering tool. So that means your requirement is going to be passed on to the extraction, the requirements agent tool. So that agent has got additional agents behind the scenes. I'm going to show you what those agents are, okay? So for example, where is my requirement? So if I show you the requirements agent, that's the requirements agent. So from here, when the engineering manager has kicked in, it says to the, whatever the requirement you put in here, it goes to the engineering manager. Engineering manager is going to say, this is a requirement. First I need to do is that it has got its own brain. First I need to do is that I need to break that requirement into multiple tasks or multiple user required stories, right? It's going to go to this the requirements agent. And what does requirements agent do? Requirements agent is going to use product analyst, that is a product owner. It also uses a user researcher to have that user designs. It also has got some domain knowledge expert or SME, right? So these are all the individualized agents which are actually making up to be an extraction requirements agent, right? So this is a super agent which has got other 3 or 4 agents below it as tools working together. But this agent is again is going to be given back to the engineering manager. So engineering manager uses that guy, right? And if I think I should be able to run an example. So I think let's say the same one, okay? So you can see that actually it's kind of goes one to the another one. Now, once the extraction of the user stories has been done, the manager, the engineering manager in this case, the agent in this case, is going to go to the architect to say, these are my user stories. Go away and build an architecture or build a design for this one, right? Just imagine how much is actually doing behind the scenes. I think that may not work because I'm using the MCP tool behind it. MCP server is not been started, so probably might not work. Just ignore the working of it. Now, engineering architect or enterprise architect, its job is that it's got the user requirements, it's got the functional requirements, everything has been given to it. So that agent is actually now going to be starting to create a architecture for your application. Think of it as complete architecture for your application, right? And then it goes back to the engineering manager to say that I am done my job. Here is the architecture, right? The engineering manager now comes back to the software engineer to say that these are the architectures, these are the user stories. Now go and build the system for me, right? How intelligent is that? Now, software engineering manager, a software engineer agent is then going to go away and start creating the required tools. Required code, whatever your stack is going to start doing that one. I also have 3 more agents, which is the DevOps agent, the testing agent, and monitoring agents, right? I haven't integrated them yet, but that's the idea here. So if you think about it, right? So this is the requirements agent that has done everything for me. It created me the BDD functional specification. It has said that, okay, this is the the idea behind it. So you can see that each one of them is a story. Of course, I have to expand a little bit more on writing the story and so on and so forth. But you get the idea, right? The idea here is really simple. And a simple prompt that has been given by the user is taken by multi-agents, right? It's a multi-agent system, right? And developed into a working prototype. How it was not imaginative in our world few years back, right? That's the beauty of it. I mean, do not look into AI as something which is a disruptive, but think of it as something which is actually making you 100 times better at what you're trying to do or what you will do. Okay. So this is, I mean, I haven't, as I said to you, I haven't fully finished development on this one. Just imagine if I do this one, right? It's going to be given to the enterprises, for example. And also imagine if it has been deployed on your organization with existing code base. These agents can start looking at your code or looking at your application, start monitoring the CPUs, start monitoring the user bugs, and it's actually going to go and fix it as well. You don't need to be part of that the whole ecosystem, right? It kind of manages proactively to see if that application has has gone away from, I mean, is the CPU has gone off, or there are some 404 errors or something like that, and it goes, oh, Mr. Konda Konda's application has been a problem because there's 404 application errors are happening, or there's a DDoS effects, right, attacks, and those can be integrated, or this can be taken care by these agents as well. That's the NA10. Okay, let's come back to the final part. We got 4 minutes. Here I asked it to, by the way, this is again a multi-agent system, right? This is simply put, if you think about it, right? You have an agent behind the scenes working for you, but it has got multiple things. That is pretty much what I did in NA10 is actually trying to do it for you behind the scenes. That's what Replit is trying to do here. So if you see, actually, I asked it to say, what are the features I should add? Probably, I don't know. Yeah, sorry, it has given me a ton of features. It says that recipe creation, probably, advanced search and discovery, probably. I mean, there are smart features, for example. Let's say, let's build some smart features. Okay, maybe that's what it is. Or social, let's build some smart features. So, still remember, no code, no touching of any of my code. Everything goes by the prompt, right? So that's the beauty of here, right? And I can only tell you this one. Sometimes it irritates you as well because these agents just go in the loop. So you go to have some tips, right? One of the tip is that try to go back to your code. Sometimes, again, if you're not a coder, that's okay. Understand, ask it to say where exactly this particular code has been written. It is actually going to give you the location of the code. It's going to tell you which part of the file that particular code has been present. You go and check it. You go and inspect it. If you are a developer, you know exactly where to do that one. And if you want, you can always change that. Right? You can always improve that. If you think that that's actually going in through the loop of, not it's called some people it's called a loop of hell. Actually, it doesn't do really very well. Right? You can do that. Certainly, it will help you, or you help it to make sure that your application is up and running. At the end of the day, your job is to make sure that the applications are working as expected. That's the job for you, right? So you work with the agent. It's an assistant, it's a companion for you to make your idea, to bring it to life, right? That's what you should do. So there is a mechanism to do that one. I'm not going to be introducing you to something called chat feature inside the Replit, or I'm not going to do anything at all, but I just wanted to introduce you to one last thing, which is the Lovable. Okay. Exactly like Replit, there is another application called Lovable.dev. Another one is called Bolt.dev. Bolt you can also run it on locally as well. So as you can see, you can simply say a particular query, or you can give a prompt. The application will be ready in a few minutes time. Just imagine you used to take at least a week or 2 weeks to create a client's website earlier, but now it can be done in probably a few minutes time. An application which is front end, back end, and also middleware used to take a week or 2 weeks to months and months and months. Now you can do it actually in about, I mean, I wouldn't say everything will be done in minutes, but I can always tell you that you can get that up and running in just about half a day to 1 day. We've been developing agents, or sorry, we've been developing chat clients or chatbots in our organization. We have created this platform where we could churn the applications or churn these chatbots pretty much half a day or one day. That quickly you can do that one. That was never used to be the case earlier. Okay. So keep this in mind. These are the improvements. These are the things that you could certainly help you do that one. My last thing is that these are not disruptive tools. If you think about these are disruptive, absolutely they are disruptive tools, but use them for your own benefit. These are amazingly intelligent. I mean, they don't have the intelligence. At the end of the day, they're all models which are, predictability, unpredictability there, but use them for your own benefit, right? Become the 10x developer what you want, or be that product owner who creates that idea or takes this idea into market or into VC's hands within a weekend or within a few days time, right? I think that's the thing which I really, really want to stress upon you here. The potential of these models is only beginning. If I'm looking at it, I can only say I was experimenting these models for the last 2.5 years, right? Every time I see a new model, the potential is exponentially increasing. It's mind-boggling. I mean, it's like mind-boggling. I mean, how much the stuff is actually happening between these models, right? And it's only going to go better and better. So don't be on the sideways. Come on to the mainstream, adopt, adapt, and make sure that you learn AI with an intention that you want it to succeed in your life. Oh, that's exactly 45 minutes.
Thank you so much, Madhu. Now it's time for the Q&A session. And regarding the extraordinary circumstances that we have, actually we can give you the mic and you can just, if you raise your hand, you can ask a question. Okay. Here you are. The first question.
Thank you for the great session. I have a question. I have about 50 of those projects started, but the moment I see they're going to work, I lose interest.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Do you have any advice?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't get that.
Yeah, I'm saying I have about 20 such projects, small things that are doable with AI, started, but the moment I see it's going to work, I lose interest almost at that point. Do you have any advice how to close?
Make that too, because I also, you must have seen my projects, right? I got 60 or 70 projects only on Replate, about 100 projects on the cursor. So exactly like you, I take a pain point and I try to solve it, right? The problem you and me have is that we don't talk to the customer. You and me take the idea and then make it a solution for you and me. But that's not what customer wants, right? That's not what a client wants. That's what actually ordinary person wants, right? Thank you, Simon.
So can I smuggle a second follow-up?
Yeah, sure. So just to finish off, the answer is focus on what somebody wants. The claimly, I know is a problem for me. I developed because it's my pain point. At the same time, I'm also interested in using AI to do these things, right? But if I really look at it, that Claimly or that particular expenses app, there's plenty of the apps already in the market, right? So only if you are interested, by all means experiment them. But if you're actually looking into a pain point, go and talk to the customer, go and find out the real pain point, and then come back and do it very quickly.
Okay. Sorry. I think you sort of already agreed with what I was about to ask, but do you think that the way that AI works right now in software development means that there's a huge premium on product and business skills, even for technical founders, essentially that the needle has shifted and now what matters is building the right thing and not really to know how to build it, because to know how to build it is to just type a few prompts?
Maybe I'll talk to you offline on this one a little bit more in detail. Okay. But it could become one-man bands. Like, there is a choice. But at the same time, if you think about it, right, application needs a stronger scalability, reliability, all those enterprise versions, right? Um, you, for a smaller applications, one person can work out, but if it's a bigger applications, probably a team of people should be around. So I strongly wouldn't suggest that reducing your team or doing on that side is not going to work out very well, but instead making sure that instead of doing it a feature for 3 months, work on a feature which gives you returns in a 1 week, and then develop 100 features in a year.
I'm sorry, somewhere in this area, someone asked wanted to ask a question. Here you are.
Sure.
Thank you. So I have a quick question. From problem to prompt, what is your process?
Sorry.
From problem to prompt.
Yeah.
What is your process?
Oh yeah. So I think I mentioned it earlier. I take a prompt, or sorry, I have this idea, right? Idea is expressed in a language, like for me it's in English, for you could be Bulgarian or French, whatever, it doesn't matter. So that is a natural language, right? Now computers really wouldn't understand the natural language. Obviously models are the ones which are now dissecting or deciphering them into a language that can do that. So, but giving a simple prompt, the prompt, like the one which has shown you, is not necessarily the right way to ask these agents to work for you. So what I do normally is that I go on to ChatGPT, or I go on to DeepSeek, or I go on to Manu, sometimes Manus as well. I ask it to explore. First of all, before I jump in there, I explore that particular problem. And I want to build so and so, critically evaluate this idea. So I start evaluating this idea with these models, right? Once you know that idea has been evaluated, I ask it, I'm going to develop this one in Cursor, or I'm going to develop this in N8N or Replit, whatever the tool. Can you create me a prompt? It's actually going to be a long prompt for you, right? Of course, take that prompt and then stick it up in any of them, and that works out very well. But I still have a mechanism, like for example, in GitHub Copilot, I use some instructions for every project to say that, although I'm going to give you prompt, but you should make sure that your project is created with the standards, right? I always do that one. The reason is that you may have created multiple projects, but they're all exactly the standardized ones. That's what I do. But always don't just go for one-liner. Explore, evaluate, and come back and then fix it, because that's where your ChatGPT is going to help you.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank you. And we have time for, I believe, one more question from the lady over here. Here you are.
Thank you.
I met you there. You're eating your nice ice cream there.
Yeah, true. So thank you for making all of us, from engineers, you raise us to managers with your scalable application. So the direction of development I see here, not only in technological perspective, but also from the human side of the organization. How do you see that?
I think it's a really deep question, so probably I don't know whether I'll answer to you that, but rather than calling yourself as a manager, I'm terming this as something called product engineer. So we used to be software engineers. You call yourself as a product engineer. So you are combining the product and combining the engineering skills, what you have, and becoming a project engineer, right? The second question, probably I'll talk to you offline, because I think there's a human intervention. I think one of the things I always say is that you cannot get rid of the humans in this particular, humans in the loop is the biggest ask here, right? We are not building the machine learning models. We are not doing the predictive analysis, but still, I would strongly suggest you to keep that, embrace that idea. I'm not expecting anybody to go away from that particular part of intervention, but that is what I'm expecting.
Thank you. Madhu, thank you so much for being with us today.
No worries. Thank you so much again, once again.